Welcome to She Gets It Done, the podcast for dog owners who need straight to the point, honest dog training advice. With your hosts, Sana and Tony, let's get into it. Hey guys, today Laura is back on the podcast, the OG. We had a really cool, well, not really a cool topic, but a topic that we're all really passionate about that we wanted to talk about. And that is rescues. But the not so positive sides of rescues, because let's face it, they are there, but a lot of people don't want to talk about it, and if you do talk about it, you get judged for it. So yeah.
Yeah, because God forbid you want to get from a reputable breeder a dog that you've wanted your whole life, or not even whole life, but one that suits your needs. I feel like there's a lot of pressure now that if you don't rescue a dog, you're a terrible person and you're just contributing to the problem.
Yeah, I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of adopt don't shop.
Well,
Yeah.
so what happens is, so the people are now talking about it's frowned upon to get a dog from a breeder. So everybody has to rescue. So rescues are like the holy place where you get your puppies and cats from. And the thing is, so rescues have become, in my opinion, something untouchable. Like you can't criticize them, you can't say anything bad about them, because if you do, you're evil. Like, how could you even say something bad of a rescue? And I've been a dog trainer for 15 years, and I've always tried to work alongside some kind of rescue. Because for me, it's part of the thing, right? I love dogs. I want to help dogs. And yes, that's how I pay my bills. But also, if I can help on the side, and I want to do, I want to do it. And yeah, and this is when it starts becoming tricky, right? When you start wanting to help rescues. I don't know if anyone has something to say about that.
Well, the sorry, go ahead, Tone.
No, no, you go.
The whole reason this kind of came to be is my whole recent foster fiasco, which I mean, most people that don't follow me on Facebook wouldn't know about it. But basically, my partner and I decided let's foster puppies, puppies only because of Lennox's reactivity. And that did not go as planned at all, where I actually contacted two rescues. One was just really, really bad in the communication. Took like 2.5 weeks to get back to me, even though I had a way in through someone else. And then the other one, I was in, I have had the house inspection, I had the phone call to ask all the questions, like they got to ask me questions. And I even got into the Facebook group and I was put number one on the list if they had a dog that needed rescuing, fostering. I was like the first one that dog would go to, I'm assuming because of experience. And then a day later, I get a text pretty much out of nowhere that they found out that I was a balanced trainer, which, by the way, I wasn't hiding. I instantly posted like, this is my business name. And then because I'm a balanced trainer, they kicked me out of the foster program and they didn't want me. So I had some thoughts about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite disheartening when you're trying to do the right thing, right? Like you're trying to help someone and it's not like you've been very transparent, and I would say a lot of your work is majority or po a lot of positive, right? Like corrections are a very minimal thing, and if you look through your content, you would see that yourself. And you wanted a puppy. I mean, a lot of a lot of work with puppies when they're really young is just all positive. It's all just exposure and everything. So it's quite sad that even they could have had a conversation to you about it, going like, what would be your plans with this puppy? Like, because we are a positive only rescue. Like, what are your plans? And you could have even gone through, well, this is the only stuff that I plan to do with this puppy, right? But there wasn't any of that communication.
Nothing at
Yeah.
all.
And when I think it was hurtful is that bit, right? Because they have the right to be like, we want positive only people here. That's their right. But they didn't even give you a chance to, you know, like they didn't even want to talk to you. Like you, I'm pretty sure you would have agreed to mostly everything, even because what are you gonna do with a puppy? Like, do these people think that because we're balance trainers and we're like raising a puppy, we're just gonna bang his head against the wall to teach him not to pee on the carpet? You know, like that's the thing I feel like just like they don't give us a chance. Like, you know, when we are raising puppies, even if we're balance trainers, it's gentle. It's like there is no reason ever to, like, you know, hurt a puppy. Like if anyone that does that is not a balance trainer, is just an idiot. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
You
why
said.
didn't not give you that chance? That's what angers me.
Yeah, that. And also the fact that you're so fucking desperate for fosters. And then a really good foster, I'm just gonna fucking say it, you know? Like, I try to be humble and stuff, and I feel like we are humble in general. But there is a difference between a person that likes dogs and has zero experience training dogs, fostering a dog, and a professional who does it for a living. There's just a difference in that. That like someone that likes playing basketball and a freaking NBA player, right? There is a difference. And I'm just like, I just don't understand how you're so freaking desperate and you say, no, thank you. I just don't get it.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And like Laura said, every rescue is entitled to like the way that they
Absolutely.
run their business, but there just wasn't any communication. And I think we've had quite a few chats about a lot of rescues. Some rescues, don't get me wrong, are fantastic. Like they have lots of good like protocols in place, but there are a lot where they take in way too many puppies that
Mm.
they can't manage, and they've got way too many homes. What like sorry, not enough fosters for them. I know one specific one. There was one lady that had way too many puppies, and they were having fights in the house because there wasn't enough management in place and not enough skill for that person to have that dog. And to me, I'm like, okay, well, then you're setting in some really problematic behaviors there that then they're going to take into other households. How is that beneficial for that puppy at all? Like, how are you setting them up in a beneficial way?
That's it.
Yeah.
I also
Oh,
feel
and I
like,
was gonna say, sorry.
yeah, you go,
I
you go.
think it's the fact that they don't communicate and that they hear the word balance and immediately they shut you out is real. Like it's not just a one-time thing,
Oh
because
no.
like 10 years ago I fostered a puppy from a rescue, and they didn't ask any questions. They just basically gave her to me because they were desperate and there was like no one else, and she landed there, and I ended up adopting that dog. And after that I was open to foster more, you know, but in the meantime they discovered that I was a balance trainer, but it was too late for them to take the dog away from me because I had already adopted her, so they didn't try, and thank goodness they didn't. But from then on they never let me foster or help ever again because they were super force free, and it was like kind of like I was like their mistake, like, oh my god, we adopted out a dog to a balanced trainer. So every time I try to, you know, like tag my dog on Instagram or anything, like, and tagging them like he's this is an update, this is what she's doing, crickets, crickets. We did never exist again for these people, and I found that so sad because this dog got to live with us for 9 years, and she had the most wonderful life, and she was not gonna have a wonderful life otherwise. Like, I believe that saved her, and so I find it so sad that they could never admit that. Like, yeah, you adopted out a dog to a person that is not force free, but that dog had the best life she could have ever had, and they would never admit it, and they would never talk to me again, and like they just shut me out. And it's so sad. I could have helped other puppies with that organization, you know.
And it's crazy because in terms of balance training, you're pretty much force free. You know, like, yeah, you use a slip leash and you use spatial pressure, but you don't use any other tools. You
I
don't
don't
use
use
the
tools.
e-collar, you don't use prongs, you don't use any of that, you know, all the evil tools.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. Oh,
yeah,
I yell a lot. Does that count?
Well, if we like, but if you think about it, if you put a dog in like a normal pet home, do you think no one is gonna yell at that puppy? How about if it's placed by someone that, one of those people that goes like, I had dogs for 25 years. And 25 years ago, we would just put the nose in their piss. And it worked. So I'm still doing that. Like, you wouldn't know that from someone that you speak on the phone for 5 minutes. Like, you don't know what's going on at that home. So that I find that just such a weird freaking attitude. And, it kind of it's sad because I've done videos before about how I don't like rescues and I've had a lot of shit about it. But this is like the redemption one. I was like, you know what? I have given rescues a lot of shit. Maybe if I'm going to the other side, I see what it's like and I won't feel this way because this isn't the first negative experience I've had with a rescue. And well, I can't say they redeemed themselves, that's for sure.
Yeah. I think I've been quite lucky. I've had, like, in terms of, I haven't had lots of interactions with rescues. I fostered once before, like a very long time ago, before I even knew about dogs, and that was really good interaction. And
Mm.
then the rescue that I rescued my dog off, they were really good and they were really open. I said I was a balanced dog trainer. They had no problems. They were really open. But then I have had seen the other part where this is where the issue is, right? Where I said again, you have ones that aren't run properly, they're not open-minded, and there's lack of organizational skills, like organization within it, and it becomes just out of control. Yeah, so I mean, I've had probably a more positive experience with them, but again, I still see a lot of issues with them, which is, and a lot of it I agree with what you've said.
I think the main issue is though that rescues are being put on a pedestal, like they can't do anything wrong, and like they are the best ethical people in the planet. And you know what? They are doing amazing work. Let's not act like they don't. And there are some really, really amazing rescues out there. But I think it is bad for the dogs if no one is allowed to ask questions when it comes to how many dogs do you guys have? Where are these dogs going? Like,
How
what
many
is,
are in one household?
yeah, like, what's the support you're giving to these dogs once they're adopted out? What houses are you adopting these out to? Because how often do we go to rescue dogs after they've been adopted?
Yeah.
Because that's it, right? They can say, yay, we adopted another dog out. And then it's like nothing. And that's where we come in. And that's why we have such a jaded view of rescues.
But also,
Yeah.
after they've adopted the dog out, has there been ever any follow-up on the dog? How are the owners going or anything? I never had that.
Mm.
Obviously, I never had that with the rescue that I got her off. Obviously, I know that rescues do have a lot of dogs and they got a lot of homes to rehome, like obviously dogs to send out to, but there wasn't even a follow-up. Also, my other thing is, do you have protocols in place to give your fosterers the knowledge of what they should be doing for critical socialization periods and everything? Like, where should they be taking the puppy? What should they be doing? Because I'm sure there's some fosterers that probably, don't know what they're doing, so they're doing the things like running at parks or like not taking them out. Are there any of that? Did you have anything like that in your handbook?
Yeah, and the handbook said that you weren't allowed to take the puppy anywhere until it
Oh,
was
that's great.
fully vaccinated plus another week after it.
Right. So
Remember,
that's what I
I
mean.
messaged,
That's what I mean, right?
yeah,
When
I
you
actually
don't have like
messaged
a
Laura about that. I was like,
yeah.
I can't
Yeah, but
find
then when you
this.
get from a reputable breeder, obviously they come like obviously from there it's depending on the breeder. Obviously not all breeders are perfect and obviously not all owners get their knowledge, but at least they're getting their puppies from like 8 weeks and they've got this whole period. Some of these puppies are staying until they're adopted for a long time. So in that period, it's the rescue's responsibility to make sure that these dogs are growing up with the skills so that you're not having problems later on for owners.
But I'm not sure if that happens. Like Laura might want to tell the story about her most recent foster and the situation she took that dog out of.
Oh, yeah. So in a nutshell, I was asked by a rescue to get a foster puppy out of their foster home because the foster home couldn't look after the puppy anymore. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And when I went there, and this puppy was born in foster care. He was born in a loving foster home, and he was placed into this loving foster home. So there's no sad story here, apart from the fact they had no owners, right? But the puppy never had a day of hardship in her life. And when I got to the house, so this puppy is like 5, 6 months old, she was aggressive and scared, and she was like barking at me like rah, rah, like super scared. The owner did not have control of her, and so I was expecting her to be at least on leash, but she wasn't because she didn't like the leash. So I was like, okay, well, I was there to take her. So I got my sleep leash. I put it around the dog, and I wasn't scared because it's a puppy. So she can give me all the intentions she wants, like you're not gonna fool me. But she was big. And when I start like, trying to take her out, the puppy's like cowarding, like, no, my God. And I said, oh, is she always like this on walks? And they're like, oh no, we don't walk her because she's too scared. So this puppy that could have had the best start that can be for a puppy that, like is
Is a
into
rescue.
adoption.
Yeah.
She had been in that foster home for like those 3 months, and they did nothing with her. They just loved her to bits, and she was so scared of everything. They didn't take her out. They didn't. So she was a mess. This dog was a Mastiff cross. She was gonna be a dangerous dog, and she was already like growling at a stranger, me. You know what I mean? Like that was a disaster. So I took her to my house, and I was like, oh no, this dog is never gonna find a home. But within 2 weeks of doing, I don't know, dog trainer stuff at my house with boundaries and rules and exposing her, I took her out. I took her out with dogs. I took her to busy places. She was a different dog, and she got adopted. And I was like, oh my God, like how many of these foster puppies end in families like that are well-meaning and loving. Like there was no lack of love, but that's not fucking enough, like this dog would have been a disaster. And I found out later that this puppy was a part of a litter of 11, and most of them are still not adopted because they are aggressive and like they are fearful, and they all have like weird stuff happening. And I spoke to another of the foster carers that was fostering the sister of this dog, and she couldn't handle the dog. 6 months old, we're talking. The dog was biting her, attacking her because she wanted the food of her plate, and she didn't know how to stop it. I was like, it's a puppy. And she's like, yeah, but it's a force, like I'm into force free, and I don't know how to do it force free. And then I said, look, I'm not force free, but maybe we can set up a session and I can show you some boundaries to help you, because this is not normal. You can't get attacked by a puppy. And also, now that we think of it, after that, crickets. The session was canceled. Suddenly, she didn't need me anymore. And now that I've talked about it, I'm starting to feel like, oh, maybe it's because I wasn't force free and I was gonna come in and someone said something. Well, I can't save everyone. I saved this one that I fostered, and I know she's doing well. So that's my one thing. But just to say, sorry, it's getting a bit long, that this is what happens. Like these foster puppies, even when they're born in the best of conditions and they go to loving foster homes, but if you don't have the knowledge, like it's a disaster.
And there's a lot of fosterers around that probably don't have the knowledge, and then they've got these puppies, and probably a lot of these like some of these puppies have some serious trauma, like some trauma as well, coming out of it. Not all of them, like some are just so like they've had the litter, they like it was unexpected and they've gone into a rescue, but there are some puppies that probably do have some abuse backgrounds. Are they then going into a more experienced home, or are they again going into a well-intentioned, loved foster home when they're puppies and they're not actually getting any structure or anything, and then all these other problems are coming out later.
Yeah. And this is where it's sad that, I feel like that's the irony or the paradox. Is like these rescue places are in dear need of, well, I feel like they would be in dear need of people that are experienced, but they choose not to choose us because they don't agree with our method, and instead they're going to place these dogs in loving homes that are loving but has no idea what they're doing. And but they prefer that. Like, this is what I don't understand. Like, how can you prefer to put a dog into a home of people that have lots of love but absolutely zero knowledge, than to put them in a home where at least people have already proven that they can raise puppies and dogs to, like, nice adult
They can be in
dogs.
society, yeah.
But
I
you
think,
also, oh,
oh, you go.
so you also get into the slippery slope though, because that litter of 11 are all like Mastiff, Cane Corso kind of pups. They're gonna end up dead in the
Yeah.
future.
Uh-huh.
Like I say it very dramatically, but if these dogs hit like 18 months and the real aggression hits and they've never had boundaries or structures, that's when people have to go to like, oh, nothing works. And I guess we need to do behavioral euthanasia, not for all of them,
No,
but
but
what is the potential future of these type of dogs, which could be avoided if you are open to different training methods. And that doesn't mean you call it dogs. It just means no means no. And
Yeah.
if you cross the boundary, you will get corrected for it. And that could be a leash pop or spatial pressure or getting your crate or a spray bottle with water, whatever it is. It's not going to traumatize the dog for life.
no. I think also if you're using, like, obviously reputable trainers, I'm sure that if you had taken a foster puppy on and then the person that was adopting that puppy
Mm.
had come to you, I'm sure you would have gone through the process of like, these are the strengths and the weaknesses, these are the things you need to work on.
I would have offered extra
Yeah,
sessions
like you,
just for
yeah,
free. Like,
yeah,
hey, we'll
like
do
classes, like
sessions.
introduction classes, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Like they had so much access to all of that as well. Like you could have really helped a puppy really properly get set up, like with all that follow-up information.
It's actually interesting you say that because in the booklet, I can't remember which of the two rescues said it, but it did say specifically that fosters are not allowed to engage professional dog trainers without explicit um, permission of the rescue. So it's like, well, clearly this is how they try and not get balanced trainers to train the dog. But like again, right, that this is a foster carer maybe having a problem taking initiative, saying like, hey, I need professional help with this, and I like this dog trainer. I'm just gonna hire her. I'm not saying it's me, it could be anyone in this area. And then as a rescue, are you actually going to hinder that? I would find that very, very strange.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I've heard of people like foster carers that get told off and they get taken off the list for hiring the wrong trainer. So that's where it scares me, and it kind of, makes you want to be like, oh, then fuck you guys, then we're never helping rescues again. And I find it so sad because I really do want to help, but I'm not like, I don't want to, like, I'm aware that we cannot save them all. So I think that's where maybe the problem comes, is that the difference between a trainer, or maybe a balanced trainer, and a loving rescue is that we don't have the same reality up here.
Mm.
Like, our reality is like, I'm not gonna try to save a dog that has killed a child. Like, that dog needs behavior euthanasia. We can't save them all, but I'm gonna try to save the dog that growled at someone because they had a resource guarding thing going on, and everybody, like, nobody understood that. I'm gonna try to save that one. So whereas, and again, not all rescues, but a lot of rescue places, especially the ones that are, like no kill and stuff, they just want to save everyone. And it's like, this is where we clash, right? We come in with our experience and, the things that we have to fix after dogs get adopted. And we're like, well, we can't adopt out this dog. You can see it's a psycho. And they'll be like, oh, we don't want to work with a trainer because they're going to tell us that. They don't want to hear what we have to say.
But then you also have like force-free trainers, like you said, that have behavioral euthanasia as well, because other training methods aren't being. So, like they don't want to euthanize, but then they'll still work with force-free, and not all force-free will also do euthanasia as well. So there's all that conflict there, like I think a little bit as well.
Yeah, but then they feel good about it. They've
Because
tried.
they only went to a force-free, right? Because they only went
Yeah,
to a force-free, right? Because they never, yeah.
but we tried everything in the force-free capabilities.
Yeah.
And now it's justified. Like it's either that. Look, and I think this is like the forever discussion why we are balance trainers and not force-free trainers. We I'm pretty sure most of us try force-free first. I don't even like saying it, but I like reward-based training first,
Reward-based first.
right? And then we go, okay, what's going on here? And we might need to use corrections. But that is our thought process. And then if none of those work, we go, maybe we need to look at medication. And if that doesn't work, we end up on behavioral euthanasia or whatever. But I feel like the jump for them is like, oh, the treats doesn't work, so now let's medicate the dog.
Yeah,
and
there's
if
all this
medication doesn't work, then let's put it to sleep.
Yeah, there's all this like middle bit, right? That's taken out. And I'm
Which
sure
is the
that
most effective bit.
the most effective important stuff, right? Yeah. And I think as well, like going back to the seeking a dog trainer, I think it's really sad when fosterers go out of their way to even invest money to help a puppy in a rescue that's not their own dog, that they're not going to keep, and then they're being discouraged to getting help. Like I would be stoked if I was a rescue and I had a fosterer that was like, I'm willing to pay money out of my own pocket to help this puppy. But then there's like it doesn't make sense to me.
And the amount of time that I don't know about you guys, but I have offered free training for
Same.
people that have adopted dogs out of a company that I work with or a dog I've been involved with, something. And I'm like, if you adopt this dog or if you adopt from this company, I give you 2 or 3 sessions for free. They get declined. Like, no one wants our fucking free sessions for helping rescues. And like, what the fuck is that? Like, do you even realize the gift that is? Why don't they want our help,
It's crazy. I've had that happen, and I've also offered to do like online training for new puppy owners or whatever, or new adopted dogs to do like a 5-week course, but online. Got no responses to that. I think I sent it to 4 different rescues. And I understand that maybe it's like you need to build a relationship. You can't build a relationship with people that don't even want to get back to you. The crazy thing is like my Facebook post had like 110 comments, and a lot of those were trainers just like us having the same problems. Just don't get it. It's like saying, I don't want to, like, Laura, your husband is a chef and he cooks with meat, right? So does that mean he can't cook vegetarian? No.
No,
It's still
he has
be
very
really,
good
really good.
vegetarian dishes.
Right. And to me, it's just wild that you might say, no, I don't want you to cook for me because I know you cook meat sometimes and I'm vegetarian or I'm a vegan. Like it's not like it's either or people like garages that fix EVs, electric cars. They can still fix normal cars too. It isn't either or. And I just so strange that um that in dog training it is. It's like, well, just because this is my whole toolbox doesn't mean I can't use it. I
Yeah.
can.
I'm not just going to be always corrective. I'm not just going to pick that one thing just because
Exactly.
I've had to use that doesn't mean that's the only thing I'm actually capable of doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it depends of the dog. Like, and this is when I'm so angry that they didn't give you a chance on the phone, and that's you and other people and me as well. They don't give us a chance because, like this puppy I fostered, the last one I did, she was very fragile. She was very like sensitive. I did not correct that puppy in the way I would have maybe corrected, I don't know, my own dog, who is a total like bullhead. Because I could see that, I don't want to break this dog. She needs building up. She needs confidence building. So I did a lot of positive reinforcement. Like there was barely any corrections because that's not what she needed, and like, so you could say that the whole time she was with us, she was like, she was raised in a force-free manner because that's what was good for her. The only thing I forced her into was like I forced her into her crate one day because she wouldn't go in. That's it, like, okay, if you wanna, you wanna like get me off your force-free books because I did that, then we don't stand a chance, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, so extreme.
I think one other issue I've seen is when rescues don't always rehome the dog to the right place, the right
Oh,
home. Like some
that is
some do not first
major.
in first serve, right? Some do like it will be the best candidate. But let's be honest, a
Oh
lot
my God, this is like my
someone wants the puppy, yep,
biggest
he goes.
issue with rescues. Like, forget about the fostering, but what you just said grinds my gears the most. That's the absolute worst thing rescues do, and maybe sob stories, but that one is the biggest one.
Yeah. And obviously with the rescue dogs, you don't know what is in the dog. You can kind of take a guess, right? And so you can go, oh well, this puppy's like this. But there's no transparency, like especially when they're really young. They're like this, but they could be very different when they're older. Like
Mm.
my dog that we adopted, she just slept all day when we first got her. She's completely different now. Like she's a complete, probably
Cheers.
within the first month, actually, she completely changed. And I was like, what the hell? But obviously, I have a lot more skill than the average dog owner family. And I've like, even my partner said, like, oh my God, like imagine her just going into an average household
Yeah.
like have the knowledge, right? So, like it's all these like, like one person, but oh, that puppy's really cute. I like them. Yeah, have it. Have it. And then nothing, you never hear anything from them again. And then these people are, oh my God, I can't handle this dog. It's
Yeah.
too much.
That's my yeah. I this my first experience working with a rescue here in New Zealand was that I offered free sessions to recently placed adopted dogs. Fosters and adopted dogs. And the they took it and then they sent me to like the worst fucking dogs, which is fine, but they placed them in such terrible homes.
Mm.
Like this one dog was like I don't know, like a Staffy cross with a Ridgeback or something like
Um,
that type of size. Let's put it that way. It was reactive to the whole world. Like you would walk this dog and it would see a dog behind a window inside of a house and it loses its shit. And they placed that dog with an elderly couple in their 70s.
I was gonna say, did it go to an elderly couple?
Yes. And these people were so happy that I came. And I was just like on the spot, you can't have this dog. Like one of the lady was already pulled over once. And it took me arguing with with the rescue to say, you need to take that dog back. These people are only fostering, they haven't adopted, and this is a danger. Like there was so many issues with that dog. And then it took them a while of arguing, and I was just like, you guys just need a cavoodle or a cavalier, which like weeks later they messaged me like, hey, we got a cavalier, and they never needed me again because it's a freaking cavalier. And another one of these cases is another older, like it was the lady was 75 and the husband was like 83, and it was a staffy. And it was a really, really lovely staffy. But it was also a full-on cannonball, and I think they owned the dog 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. Between my first session with them and the second session, the lady had her arm broken and a cast. And I was just like, why did you guys adopt this dog? Because, they didn't talk to me. And they go, look, we went to the rescue or the pound or wherever they went for this dog. And they said, we want the older dog because we're older. We want the small dog. So they come in with all these criteria, which I'm sure they're telling the rescue as well. So how do you walk out with a 1-year-old Staffy? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. It took me that was so hard to get these people to rehome that dog. And they rehomed it to their daughter in the end and swapped the dog with the daughter. So the daughter's dog came to live with them, which was like a cavoodle or a spoodle or something along those lines. And I just don't get how rescues see that. And they go like, yeah, you're a great house for this dog.
I think when you were talking, I was thinking of something, how rescues have their own criteria and how lately
Correct.
the most important criteria is, are you home a lot? Because this dog needs someone that works from home and never leaves their house unless, there's a babysitter in there. I think this is why elderly people are always like the best choice for these dogs that have some sort of separation anxiety. And like we know staffies get a lot of that, not necessarily that one, but so I would think that the rescue goes like, okay, we need people at home. Who are they? Elderly people. They're retired. They're at home. So younger people like us that work, we don't get a chance. Again, even if we're not trainers, we want to adopt a dog. Oh no, you guys work. You can't have a dog. And bam. So these dogs get all rehomed into homes that are unsuitable because the only tick they get is that they're home all the time. But that's not enough. Like if you're home all the time, but you can't handle, the dog on a leash, that's not gonna help the dog. But I feel like rescues, not all of them, but they get into those lines of like, okay, we need to adopt out these dogs to a place where people never leave their house. Bam. And that's what
and
they're
it's fully
doing.
fenced. And they have a
Yeah,
backyard.
that's what I'm gonna say.
Those are like the three main criteria.
One of I actually know a lady, she's so lovely. Like she would do anything for her dog. One of her dogs recently passed away, and she's been wanting to get another one, like another smaller dog, because her other dog is very social, very friendly. And she's like, I'd just love for him to have another mate. And you know what? I would love to have another dog. There was a little dog, she would have been perfect for that house, like perfect for that dog. And they said, is your house fully fenced? She said, no, but like they're inside and I come home a lot and I take them out for walks and everything. Nah, nothing.
No.
And she would have been the perfect home. Like she walks her dogs every day, loving everything. Nah.
And there's lots of stories like that because I also have a friend that wanted to adopt. She was the most dedicated owner you could ever wish for, but she lived in an apartment and she had a job. Oh my God, why are people working? So she could not, like, she went to so many different rescues. No one would give her a fucking dog to love and adopt because she didn't have a backyard and she worked. But this lady was gonna take the dog to work with her. You know what I mean? That did not cut it. What did she do eventually? She went to a breeder. She got herself a puppy from a breeder. So again, but rescues getting like so into the lane.
I think honestly, there's a lot of hate on breeders, especially registered breeders, that I feel like they don't deserve that hate because they're doing all the right things anyway. But I honestly think that rescues are driving puppy mills and backyard breeding themselves.
Because they're just taking the puppies, because they're constantly taking the puppies.
Well, that, but also because they keep denying people. Like, I have another friend as well that also wanted to adopt a dog, and she tried again and again and again, and she decided to get cats. But she still wanted a dog, and we talked just recently, and she was like, "Yeah, I'll probably just end up buying a puppy from someone." So you go on Gumtree or Craigslist or Trainee, and you're like, "Oh, who's got a puppy available? I'll just buy that one."
That one's available to come home next week. I'll buy that one.
Exactly, and yeah, that's partly the problem because of rescues and the weird criteria. Like, since when is it not okay to work? That you can't be out of the house? Like, if anything, you need to stop creating all these separation anxiety riddled dogs because we're always home. Especially if it's a puppy. There's absolutely no reason if you adopt a 3-month-old puppy that you need to be home all day, every day.
Yeah.
Unless you want to create a separation anxiety dog.
But in this day and age, there's everything. Like, there's doggy daycare, there's dog walkers, there's so many things. So, like if someone is a dedicated owner and is showing that, yes, okay, I work and I don't have a backyard, but I have money and I can hire a dog walker.
Exactly.
What's wrong with that? Like,
Yeah.
why? And so, that this also angers me a lot. And I want to support rescues, but it's so hard when all these things keep happening, around me, people I know, friends, other trainers. And I wanted to go back to remember that there was a comment in your thread, that person that said, yeah, it's because, oh my God, I can't quote it. It said, yeah, you dog trainers come in with all your knowledge and ruin it all for us because
You're know-it-alls. We don't
you
want
know it.
any dog trainers as fosterers because they're always know-it-alls and they always know everything better and they don't want to listen to what we have to say. I'm like, yeah.
That one.
That's like a patient coming into a doctor's and being like, you're a know-it-all and you never listen to anything we have to say. I mean, obviously some patients, like, they know their thing and not all doctors listen, but I'm just saying from a professional point of view, there's like someone
Exactly.
coming in, or even like someone that loves, like, drives a car, goes to a mechanic and goes, oh, you're a know-it-all, but you never listen to what I have to say.
Yeah, I know how to fix my car myself. I'll do it then.
I can change my oil, so I know how to fix my car.
Yeah,
And
it's
My
yeah,
oil.
I don't even pretend to be an know-it-all. Like I'm the first one to say, yeah, like if you have something to teach me, go ahead and say it.
same.
But yes, I do know some shit because I've been doing this thing for 15 years. So yes, I know some stuff, and I think it's sad that instead of embracing that, they reject it because I don't know, are they afraid of being told they're doing it wrong? I don't know, but it's
Ego thing.
if there was a way we could communicate better and be like, we're not here to teach you what to do. We just want to help the dog that you're going to give us. Let us foster and do your own thing over there. I don't give a shit. Just give me a foster dog and I will help this one dog.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
such, and I feel like it's a shame because, obviously there are really good rescues out there that do all those things that are not so stupid about their adoption process and all that. But I feel like they're often being snowed under by other ones that you don't really see a lot. And I do honestly think the problem is that no one asks rescues questions, everyone is so benevolent and is so amazing, and I can't believe how nice these people are to do all this good for these dogs, but
But why
doesn't
would
mean
they
you
ever
get to
have
ask questions.
Yeah, why would they ever give me a dog that I can't have? Or like why would they give me a dog that's aggressive, like naturally aggressive? Like not naturally, but you know what I
Yeah,
mean. Like,
but also
why would I
why would you criticize someone that does such amazing charity work? How dare you criticize them?
How dare you?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then the other one that gets me is when like it could be on Facebook or something and someone's like, I'm looking for a reputable breeder. I'm really wanting this breed. Like this is the breed that I want. It works for me. And then it's, oh no, you should get a rescue. There's
Oh,
mastiff crosses available for adoption here. I'm like, this person wanted like a little like Cavalier King
cute.
Charles, and you're wanting them to adopt a fucking mastiff cross. But you got to rescue. Don't add to the problem.
It's funny, right? Because the rescues, there's such a high amount of rescue now that I wonder if there's ever going to be any data about, increased dog attacks, increased issues out in the world. Does it have to do because there's so many unstable dogs? I'm not saying every rescue dog is an unstable dog, absolutely not. But I definitely see more rescue dogs than I see purebred dogs.
Same.
Like with behavior problems. Like, for the purebred dogs, I generally see German short-haired pointers because they're just like a lot of power that often need a bit of help. Or I see a Labrador, like a young Labrador. But for dogs that have separation anxiety, or they're destroying the house, or they have reactivity issues, a lot of the times that's a rescue dog.
Yep.
Mixed breed.
Yep.
So
I'd agree with that. A lot of the dogs that I work with are mixed breeds or they're rescues. But don't get me wrong, like I do have some really awesome like
same.
rescues that I work with, but like rescue dogs, and they're fantastic that I pack walk. But I also have had a lot of people inquire with me for training, and a lot of them are rescues, and usually they've had them and it's been about a month since they've gotten them and they're reactive and everything.
Yeah. But that's the worry, right? With adopt, don't shop. If that gets worse, then soon we won't have a lot of stable dogs to breed from anymore.
Yeah.
So what are we gonna do? Are we gonna breed with unstable dogs? Because let's face it, if we only believe in adopt, don't shop, and we would really strictly follow that, then in 20 years there is no dogs anymore.
Well, yeah, because they're all desexed.
Yeah. And we're not supposed to be breeding them. So, it's an unrealistic point of view, unless you're like,
unless you're a backyard breeder, like it's just this family and they're like, oh, I want my dog to experience the miracle.
motherhood.
Oh, I had the most insane post I'd seen. It was this guy and he was looking for someone for his bitch, the female bitch, and he's like, I want my children to experience the wonder of a puppy giving birth and helping raise them.
Oh my God.
Is this still a thing? Oh my God.
I actually read that and I was like, what the hell? And then I've read the comments and it was all like absolutely ruthless to this person. But I was like, but these people are out there. They're like, oh well, I want my dog to experience the miracle of life. Haven't had any DNA testing or, know anything about like any issues that it has, or I don't even know anything about even raising a puppy, but let's just do it.
Oh, my male dog needs to have had sex at least once before we take the balls off.
Yeah.
It's such a weird, like, but those then are the people that end up breeding. Again, those are the people we want to stop breeding, not the people that are doing the right thing.
That are doing it responsibly, yeah. But again, like in everything, all extremes are bad. Like, why is it so hard to find a fucking middle bit, Like a little bit of good breeding, a little bit of adopting out good dogs, because we need adoption, like we need rescues. Rescues are needed. Like, I don't want to be like the person that says rescues are shit and evil. No, there's so many, like we need them, but stop being so fucking extreme. Like, just open your minds a little bit. That's my battle, is that, like, I still want to help rescue. And like, if there is a rescue that doesn't mind that I'm a balance trainer that I can work with, then I'm gonna hang on to them until I die.
Exactly. As long as they do ethical stuff and it's not becoming a hoarding issue.
Yeah, exactly. There's that too. Maybe you find a rescue that doesn't care about the way you train, but also they are super unethical in the way they have, like, 60 dogs in the one room. So there's also that. Like, there's so many other things to worry about than the fact that you're a balanced trainer,
That's it. Yeah. It's a giant rabbit hole today on rescue.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
I think you ended it really nicely though. It's like, we're not against rescues. Rescues are necessary. They do amazing work. But let's see if we can find a middle ground. If we could get a middle ground with rescues, I think everyone would be happier. Fosters, rescues, trainers, dog owners. Everyone would be happier if we start
dog owners, the ones that have to live with the dogs as well.
Exactly. If we start working together instead of fighting each other over fucking semantics.
I just want to help. I just want to help the dogs and their owners. That's it. I don't care about anything else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. I think that was a good chat.
Yeah, it was nice chatting with you guys.
It was.
Yeah.
It was good. Guys, for listening to She Gets It Done. It was really great to have Laura back as well. This was a really interesting topic, and I'm sure that we could talk about this for many more hours. But all right, Let us know in the comments what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? We'll see you next time. Bye.